Hi guys, it's Chris with City Your Homestead. Time for Thankful Thursday. So today we're going to do something else that it kind of lets you a secret about me a little bit. It's going to be about trust. And I don't think that I'm the only person out there that doesn't trust everybody. I try to and I want to, but there's a lot of deceivers out there, and I don't mean in YouTube world either. I mean, it could be friends, family, church, politics, all kinds of stuff. So anyways, I'm not sure what I'm even going to talk about today, really. But I have 3 verses I picked out. We'll go into prayer and we'll make something, and then we'll talk about it as we go, I guess. Alright, so the first one is Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. The next one is Jeremiah 17:7-8. Be blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like the tree planted by the water that sends out its seeds, its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green, and no worries in a year of drought, and never fails to bear fruit. The last one is Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. So the last few weeks, when we've been talking about things, everybody says they put their trust in God. So let's talk about that. Heavenly Father, thank you for each and every person that's watching today. Even if they just peek in for a minute, I hope they can hear me and hear you and see you through me. I know that we're in just really messed up times right now, and there's so many different bad things happening, whether it's weather, financial, or emotional. It's just getting a lot for a lot of us to handle. If you could please be with us and lift up the ones and carry the ones that need to be carried. I know that you know our hearts better than anybody. People can say they know us, but only you know the true us. We share ourselves with people here and there, but you know who we really are in our hearts and what we do. I ask that you be with all of us and protect all of us and keep us safe. I ask all of these because we love you and we depend and we trust in you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So, I'm going to make something new. Remember when we went shopping with AJ the other day? I bought this organic pumpkin because AJ's like, you need to get that, Grandma. So Grandma bought 2 of them. We're going to use one of them. So we're going to use the 15-ounce can. In our bowl here. We'll make sure we get every bit of that yummy pumpkin out. Tom is not a pumpkin fan, but he will eat things. He's just not a fan of it. I don't know if that I like pumpkin or if I like the cream that goes on top of it, because I'm not a fan of pumpkin pie by itself, but put whipped cream on it and like pile it on there, and I'm good with it all day. But I'll eat it by itself too. I do like it. Alright, so then we need 4 eggs. I know I'm not sure how I come up with the topics to, well, I kind of do, but, you know. I know in personal life right now there's things going on and it brings up certain things, you know what I mean? And so it comes that way, but I also believe that God says, hey, why don't you talk about this? Or, you know, I'm sure it's not words like that, you know what I mean, but right now, with election season and everything that's been happening, I think it's getting harder and harder to trust people. All right, so then we need sugar, which we need 1.5 cups of that. There's 1.5 cups. I don't have the baking pan that it asks for, so I'm going to do mine in a 9 by 13. Hopefully it works out okay. And then we want 1 cup of cooking oil. And there we go with that. Feels like I got something in my eye. Ugh. I hate when it does that. Alright. Let's see if we can whisk this together. If not, we'll stir it. I think once we get it going. So, I mean, with me, trust is everything. Honesty, integrity. People might not like what I say or do or whatever, but I don't lie about myself or what I do or what I'm willing to do. Nothing. You know, and that's something me and Tom talks about, is that he knows. I'm bad at even keeping secrets. It's terrible. But anyways. Honesty and integrity was instilled in me even as a kid. And I want to be able... Whoops, sorry about that. I forgot there was a bowl in there. I want to believe everything that's told to me. I know that's kind of like naive, but I do. I want to believe everything that someone tells me, because I want to know that their honesty means something to them too. And so I want to be able to trust that, if that makes sense. Alright, so now we're going to put 2 cups of flour in. I know that's pretty naive, right? It really is. And 2. And I know that, you know, being naive is probably not the smartest of things in this world nowadays. We need 2 teaspoons of, or 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And we need 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. That's going to add the good flavor into it right there. 1. I've tried those cinnamon pills before to lose weight, and it gives me heartburn terrible. And it's supposed to be really good for your weight loss, but it just really gives me bad heartburn. I mean, in the comments below, you know, write down how important trust is to you. And what do you do to build your trust with others? You know what I mean? Because it isn't just us trusting other people. It's them being able to trust us in what we say. You know, are we honorable? Whatever. And I mean, right now, during the elections, I don't know about you guys, but me and Tom, we were watching a movie the other day. Sorry, I'm not crying. It really feels like there's something in my eye. But, and we're both like, we can't wait till this election's over with. Because, you know, one side's cutting on the other side and this and that and whatever, you know. I mean, we've already picked who we're going to vote for. And there's not going to be anything that changes our mind with that. So we're set that way. But, so in the meantime, you watch any movies or anything like that, that's all you hear. That's all you hear. Is just, you know, this person did that thing. And the thing is, you can't even trust anymore what they tell you on TV because most of it's lies. And it's very, very sad that it's like that. I don't know if Walter Cronkite was trustable back then either, but I remember my grandparents, you know, they'd like sit in front of the news and they'd watch it every single night, and they truthfully trusted what the person was saying. I don't think we have that nowadays. But I think trust is not just things like that. Trust is, you know, would I trust you with my kids or my grandkids? You know what I mean? Are you that trustworthy that I would do that? You know, are you the person that, you know, I don't have $500 to lend, but just saying, if I had $500 to lend somebody, would I trust that they'd pay it back? Do I, you know, trust that things that you'd say about me would be truth or lies? Do you trust for that? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different parts of trust that we don't even think about, you know, like, we really don't. And we think that, okay, well, they're family or they're friends or whatever, so they automatically got our best interest at heart. That's not always true. Sometimes it's what's best for them. And it's good if they make you look bad. Do you know what I mean? And so can you trust everybody? I don't want you to go through this lifetime going, well, I don't trust this and that and blah, 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 because I don't want people to be that way. But I think sometimes we have to think about trust to protect ourselves. I mean, not just money-wise or whatever, like don't get caught up in a scam or anything like that. That's not good either. All right, so now we're going to spread this out. It's going to be thicker than what it said because it's in a different size can. But you know what? That's okay. Who cares? It'll turn out wonderful and tasty, hopefully, and who cares? It's not like I'm entering it for a baking contest. I know I shouldn't be eating raw pumpkin, but it tastes pretty good. Pretty good, actually. Now we're going to put it in a 350 oven, and it's going to cook 25 to 30 minutes. So let me clean the rest of this mess up, and then I'll be right back, and we'll talk about me going gibberish like I usually do. Alright, so I got my mess cleaned up. I'm not OCD or anything like that, but when I've got a bunch of stuff sitting on my counter, or there's dirty dishes in the sink, it drives me crazy. Or a bunch of dirty clothes, too. My two pet peeves. So anyways, I was thinking while I was cleaning, and, you know, this world really revolves a lot on trust. And, I mean, I don't know why that didn't occur to me before. Maybe I just needed a break there for a second. But do you trust your doctor to give you the right pills? The right treatment? For those of you that have had heart surgery or anything like that, did you trust that surgeon? You kind of have to, because you're trusting them with your life in their hands. You trust that, you know, like there was a thing going on Facebook that if you added up your items and then whatever, and you did it for real, that they were like, you know, taking money away from you, whatever. Can you trust that? Can you trust that your brakes are going to stop the car? Or that somebody else's brakes are going to stop their car? You know, do you trust that you're going to always get the right amount of interest at your bank account, or, you know, whatever it happens to be, you know? And so while I was cleaning up, I'm like, holy gosh, you know, there's a lot of things we put trust in. We put trust in our spouses that they'll be faithful and honest and true, you know? We put faith and trust in our children that they will be the same. And I know a friend of mine, she's like, do you really trust your kids that much? And I go, yeah, I do. And she's like, why? And I go, because they tell me everything. She goes, they don't tell you everything. And I go, believe me, I know things I didn't even want to know. But I always had an open door policy with my children. It didn't matter what it was, how much I didn't want to hear it, how much I didn't want to think about it. I would much rather have them come to me and talk to me about it. And, you know, I could be their release. Does that make sense? So they could trust me with the information that they gave me, and I could trust them knowing that they're coming to me. And that was always very, very important to me. They also didn't get punished if they told the truth. I know that sounds weird, but as long as they told me the truth, they didn't get in trouble. If they didn't, not such a good thing. Because I can remember my son, my oldest one, we lived out in the country, and him and his friend had come in and got candles and matches, and I didn't know. They were outside playing, and, well, they caught something on fire. The guy behind us was the closest that we had, but had it where it was, had it spread, it could have, you know, caused a lot of damage. Anyway, so the kid, he ran off and left my son standing alone. And my son could have just tried to put it out himself or just pretended it didn't happen. And he came running in the house. He goes, Mom, get the fire extinguishers and the hose. And so I did just that, and we put the fire out. And I said, now how did that happen? And he told me. And I went down and talked to the parents. And I said, why would he, if he's doing those things, leave my son holding the bag when they both were doing it? I don't know if he got in any trouble or not. My son did not. He got a good talking to, because you don't do that. But he didn't get punished or grounded, anything else, because I think it took more integrity, even though he did something wrong. It took more trust and, you know, honesty and integrity to run into that house to make sure that nothing bad happened. And to me, that was the sign of him growing up to be a good man. So just things like that. But trust right now for me is a big thing. It's the same person as I spoke about last week. But anyway, when people say mean things and they say things that are not right, that are not true, you know, can you trust everything that comes out of a person's mouth? Maybe not. Maybe sometimes people say, and I don't mean just this directed as that person, but to all of us. Maybe sometimes people say things that you want to believe or you want to think is true, and it's not. Maybe sometimes we fluff things, and, you know, I think when we do that, it makes us untrustworthy. If that's even a word. Yeah. It makes us not trustworthy. Trustworthy. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, I wasn't good in English, but, you know, anyway. But, you know, I got to thinking about that today, and we often say, you know, we put our trust in God, that He will get us through it all. And, you know, like, I read a story on Facebook that said there was a grandpa and a grandma and a mom that was the grandparents' daughter and a 7-year-old boy, and they got caught into that the floods. And, you know, like, the police had been telling everybody, get high, like up on top of your roof and stuff, so that people can see you to rescue you. Well, they got up there and they were waiting and waiting, and you can see the photo actually that they had taken of their feet, you know, and the water was coming up. It was like way up. They did the right thing, but the roof collided. It collapsed. And only the daughter survived. Her son died, and so did the grandparents. And the mother said, my son's last words were, Jesus, help me. And, you know, for a 7-year-old boy to call to God to help him, I think, is an amazing thing. But we always say, I trust that God will do this. I trust that God will do that. And then I get to thinking about it, and do we really? I mean, I think we trust, we believe that we trust him, like I have in a few different places in my house that says, let go, let God, let go, let go, let God. That's what it is. Because I am guilty of one that I am afraid to let completely go. He's never let me starve. He's never let me, do a lot of things. But there's still that person, that little bit of apprehension that says, I have to do that too. You know what I mean? And we forget to step back and go, you know what? I can't do this right now. I don't know how to do this right now. And maybe he gives us directions on what to do, and we need to trust those directions. But do we trust that he'll either A, give us a way to fix it, or he'll help fix it? And that's something that I have worked on my entire walk with God, to completely let go of something and to let him have it. Like I always think to it, and me and Tom talked about this last night. I said, I felt like my channel was a calling, and I had talked to him about a year before I started my channel, and he finally said, why don't you just start it? And I'm like, and I think, geez, I should have 50 million subscribers now if it was a calling. But then I think, too, is that maybe he needs to show me how much hard work it really takes to get there. And if I just got to 50 million people overnight, I'm not going to ever get to 50 million. But you know what I'm saying? That if I got there overnight, then maybe I wouldn't keep working as hard to keep building, and to not just to build the channel, but to build my relationships with people. Because if it's a calling, shouldn't I be trying to build relationships with people? I think probably. Am I good about calling people and all that good stuff? No, I'm not. I'd be honest, I'm not. I have a few people I talk to on the phone, but that's what I did for a living for years. And I hate the phone. I do. I hate the phone. I hate texting even worse. But, so I'm putting my trust in God that this is going to be the income we're going to retire on eventually. Not today, guaranteed. But why is it that I can give him the trust for that and not other things? And maybe you guys are experiencing the same thing, that, you're like, well, I think I can, like you got a $500 bill. I think I can do $450 of it. But so are we going to trust that we're going to come up with that other 50 because that he's not going to let us down? I mean, I think God expects us to do a lot of things. I do. I think he expects us to take care of ourselves, to provide for ourselves, to provide for our children, and, to put the word out of God, and to act like good people and be good people. But I also think that he needs to hear, like that little boy said, Jesus, help me. And I think sometimes we forget that we're supposed to trust him. And we're supposed to say, once in a while, Jesus, just help me, please, get me through this. And if it's meant to be, he's going to get you through it, right? It's like I used to always pray, like, people that, and it's so funny because they say it at church, like they'll say, okay, this person has, entered hospice, and they don't want you to pray to live. They want you to pray for peaceful passing. And I thought in my lifetime, like, how would you ever pray for something like that? But you know what? I did. When it came to my parents, and my dad died of cancer and my mom died of ALS, and I did pray that God would take them peacefully and painlessly. That didn't happen, but I mean, they did go peacefully. They both kind of just fell asleep and didn't wake back up. But, I mean, we trust in him to do so many things. So I guess if we can trust in God like that, and let me know what things you guys have a hard time with trust. You know what I mean? Whether it's with humans or animals or God or whatever it is. Let me know what your big trust issues are. But I think that I want to be able to trust 100% and have faith 100% that God will always deliver. But I want that in my fellow man too. I mean, that is asking too much, probably. It probably is. But you can hope and you can pray that the people in your life, the things in your life, that you can trust it. I mean, you think about, I just thought about this too. We think about like, okay, this says organic. Do you know if it is? No. Were you out in the field when they picked that pumpkin? No. We trust all that garbage they put in our food every day that it's healthy for us and whatever, and it's not. We trust that the air we breathe is clean, and it's not. We trust that the kids' buses that we get on every morning are 100% safe. But I'll tell you what, if you could hear AJ's school bus brakes, the one lady that's kind of new at the bus stop, she's like, those brakes are not good. And they put our kids in there. So, I don't know, when I was cleaning up, I thought about that. And I'm like, you know, it's funny how things just pop into my head. And then I ramble on forever. But this whole world kind of revolves around trust. That's so weird that a 5-letter word, I had to think about a 5-letter word, could actually mean that much. But it does. Because, boy, we depend on trust a lot. I mean, I trust that when I go to the bank, you know, to go pay my bills, that they didn't keep my money. I have to trust that when I pay my car payment, they're actually legitimately figuring out things right, and that they're not overcharging me or, you know, whatever. I trust that when my car is paid off, that they'll send me a paperwork saying that it's mine. You know what I mean? You pay off your house, you trust that they'll send you the deed with no people on there is holding your deed. I mean, there's so much that we trust. That's just, honestly, that blows my mind now. See, I wasn't really so sure of what I'd talk about until I cleaned up, and then it just like boom, hit me like a brick. You know, like, this is it. But when you think about it, trust, mind-blowing. It really is like one of the most important things in the world. Wow. See, sometimes I get these revelations and I'm like, wow, I could hit a B8. Anyways, so I'm going to let this cook. I think I got the trust issue across good enough. We don't need a 40-minute video to do that. I'm going to let this finish cooking and let it cool off, and then I'm going to show you what else I'm going to do with it. But I do want to thank you guys again. I cannot tell you from the bottom of my heart how much each and every one of you mean to me. And, you know, I'm hoping that even if I get to 50,000 subscribers, you know, that I'll be able to still answer each and every one of my posts and give you a heart and whatever. Because, honestly, it is very, very important for me to keep a relationship with you guys. And when you're not there for a few days or you stop watching for months or whatever, I do pay attention. Especially when my views are down. I do really pay attention. But, just thank you. Know that I love you guys and your amazing crew. I mean, just, I think about some of the things that you guys say, and like, you don't know, I could be having a down day, and some of the things you guys say just perks me right up, and it makes me feel amazing. And that means the world to me. And like, people that laugh over Tom or whatever, he gets a kick out of that, because, you know, someone once said I force him to do that, and Tom likes to be the center of attention, believe me. There's no forcing him when it's trying to get attention. No, he's just like that. And he loves doing the videos with me. And, you know, like, it's so funny that even though he doesn't answer the comments, I'll be like, Sherry, and he goes, tell her sorry that we didn't put any bacon in. So he does truly get to know you guys, too, through the comments, because I read them to him. Not all of them, but some of them, you know. So he does know some of you, and he's a riot. He's a riot. But anyways, thank you for being here, and thank you for helping me live my dream, and thank you for letting me try to live what I don't know what I've been called to do, but to get me there too. Know that I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. And I know that right now in this world we need a lot of love. Whether it's from YouTube, Facebook, our friends, our family, the neighbors, whatever. I really truly believe that love fixes a lot of things. And because if you love somebody, you don't want them to hurt. No matter what, you don't want them to hurt. And you trust somebody, you know they won't hurt you either. So, on and on I go, right? This is going to be more like a pumpkin cake because it's getting really thick. But that's okay. I'm sure it's still going to be very edible. Alright, so I'll be back when it's done and cooled, and then we'll go to the next step. Alright, so now the cake is fully done. I'm going to call it a cake because, well, look how thick it is. So now I'm going to take some cream cheese frosting and we're going to put it on the top. Cream cheese is my favorite. I know I could make my own. But for $1, I can also buy it. Look at that. I can't wait to taste this. I think it's going to be really, really good. Yeah, that's something else. You guys have to trust me, too, that everything tastes as good as I tell you it does. But you can kind of tell if Tom doesn't like it something, so that's usually a pretty good dead giveaway. But believe it or not, most of the things I've tried he loves, so that's a bonus right there. Alright. So let's give this pumpkin a try and see what we think. If I can get some of the cake in there too. Ooh. Mmm. That is so good. Mmm. And it's moist too. I see I have to stay away from this. Anyways. Push that off to the side. Thank you again for being here today. I appreciate it. You're appreciated. I love you. And you guys are amazing. Never ever forget that. And if you do need a chat, you know, get a hold of me, citygirlhomestead2022@gmail.com, and we can chat. You're never alone. Trust that. Alright. I love you guys. You guys have a blessed day. Be a blessing. And I'll see you later tonight.